G'day punters, welcome Early Crow episode 55, brought to you by Makita. Right now, get amazing bonuses with selected Makita XGT 40 volt and 80 volt max kits and combos. Limited time only, visit makita.com.au for details. Makita XGT, more intelligent, more efficient, more power, more Makita. P-Rat, how are ya? What's going on?
Mate, very good. Bar getting burnt today. This weather's really cooking me around. Have you seen the weather for Friday, actually, while we're on the topic of weather? It's like 19 degrees or 18 degrees for the valley on Friday. Don't know if there's any rain around. Bit of a setback considering we've had, 26 today and 30 tomorrow, but mate, other than getting burnt, real good.
I don't want it too hot at the races.
No, it's true, but being a night meeting, it might be a bit fresh.
Also, considering that we're likely having an event at 3 p.m, at a pub in Moonee Ponds on Friday, which I haven't told you about till just now.
Wow, that's good. Okay.
Mailbag Bloodstock.
Oh, love this.
Drinky poos, potentially. We'll see how we go.
That could be big. Looking forward to that.
Again, this episode is papless. He and his beautiful fiancée and some dear friends are travelling to Japan, where Tom's probably going to eat the most avocado and chicken sushi of any tourist has ever done. Do you reckon he even goes that flary?
Nah. My guess is nah. It won't be that flary.
I think Annie'd be pushing him along. Come on, just try it. We've also got in the pipes, Pratty. We've got not so much early crow, but it's Mailbag Bloodstock Friday potentially. JONO at the mailbag.com.au, but we've got something big coming up at Werribee.
Mate,
Werribee Cup Day.
We do. I think it's the, let me get the date up here, the 8th of December, mate. You and I are going to be in the stalls, the area they call it, at Werribee Cup. It'll be me and you talking a bit of shit, mingling with punters. We'll be running a punters club. There's a food and drinks package to get in there. I believe it's 120 for members and 135 for non-members. We'll get that all confirmed next week, but you'll be doing your best work across, say, Thursday and Friday doing the form for the meeting. We'll bet on the Saturday, and then you and I can jump in the car, you said it was a fair way away. It's actually not too bad for me. It's like 25 minutes down the road. I know you've got a little bit more of a journey to go, but hopefully we'll see if we can con Roscoe into coming after his amazing debut going with you up to Moe. But yeah, should be a fun day. We'll get Adam, the general manager for Werribee Racing Club, during the week, and we'll pop an interview in and he can tell us all about the day and why you should come along. But if you want to come down and have a bet and watch some horses with us and listen to Dicko and how he analyses form, and we might be able to get a few guests and talk to a few trainers and jockeys, it should be a fun day out.
Loosely, it's not going to be a form lesson, is it? It's just
not a form lesson. Just
boys,
more
boys
what
and
you
girls,
like in
we're
the
on
next.
this. Let's roll this home.
100%.
We'll start winning, getting some momentum.
Yep.
Let's start tipping them back.
Yep.
We'll get some industry participants to show their faces. I'll ask them some questions. You guys can yell them out and ask them whatever you really want.
Yep.
We'll sort of build into the day, and then we'll get nice and loose towards the end, would be my prediction.
Yep. Yeah, it's like a 5-hour food and drinks package, so it's going to be nice and low-key. You don't have to dress up too much to go to Werribee. It's you have to be smart casual, and we can enjoy roaring a few home together. It should be fun.
Actually ties in all right, because the stable champion, Keats, won the Werribee Cup last year.
Yeah.
So hopefully if that was to happen again, no plans yet for Keatsy boy, but let's just hope, Pratty, that
here it is.
That the Werribee Cup's that sort of size.
Yeah, that was the Moe Cup for those who are playing at home, which again can be seen in a little vlog that we did with you guys on Friday, which was a bit of fun.
Shout out to Ross Brody, who went the big lift and really recorded a lot of gear and put himself out all day long, tolerated me and everything else I do. So we're very grateful to Ross. It's also just good vibes with Ross. I cut my teeth with Ross. We used to float around the metro tracks. We've been through all the ups and a lot of downs. Back in the day, we were going so good that about race 5, on a Wednesday at Sandown, we'd order like a pizza or two, Uber Eats.
Yep.
Ross would go and pick it up. Only one day I had to go and do the yard. Ross had to go and get the pizzas. Came back to delicious pizzas, thin crust, but no laptop for Ross.
Oh, that's right. That was at Moonee Valley, wasn't it? Upstairs in your little betting area. Oh no, that's an enormous setback.
Still blows up about it.
He's bought a $26 pizza for you both, and he's lost about $1,500 in return.
I would have bought the pizzas, but yeah, he had to go and get them.
Speaking of actually food on racetracks, rumour has it that you've potentially delved into a lot of Maccas on track as well. Is that true or false?
Oh, heaps.
Yeah.
Back in the day at Sandown, Lakeside and Hillside is my favourite track.
Yep.
There's not many people go. I like to sit up there, and used to sit up there for 4 years by myself. Go down and see some humans and horses for each race and mounting yard, and then fuck off back down by myself and listen to my music or my podcasts and and again, if I didn't feel like a pizza at Sandown, you just jump in, you run out to your car, takes 3 minutes, jump in your car. You could Uber Eats it, but Uber Eating, this is my tip of the week. Out of the way now. You got to be real careful Uber Eating or just getting any type of delivery from Macca's and KFC. I've never done Hungry Jack's or any of the other joints, but burgers and chips are risky on the delivery. You need to go and get them yourself if you want to be spot on. And at Sandown, you just run to your car, 3 minutes, get in your car, takes 3 minutes. You just literally drive across the bridge, and there's a Macca's.
Yep.
So I'd go over, get a McChicken, quarter pounder maybe, little cheesy, McFlurry, rush back and wouldn't miss a race. So
that's elite.
They were the glory days.
Yeah, what you can travel, not too far from a Macca's, an ice cream and a large Coke Zero on a hot day, they're sweet. Done that multiple times, especially on a Saturday watching the races. But burgers and chips, they just go soggy.
You can get the McFlurries delivered.
Yeah.
But you need to be real careful getting like KFC particularly, which we're going to get to today on this episode. You're doing the Colonel and yourself a big disservice if you get it Uber Eats, in my humble opinion. Yeah. So the week we just had, we were at Caulfield Wednesday with Pesto.
Yep.
Who got a sore back. Nothing went right for John McNeil or for us. The horse didn't want to settle for him, so it's understandable what he sort of had to do. But it was a car crash, and it was a back-to-back car crash, and that poor horse has been in the races 5 times and been unlucky 4 of them, or 4 times and unlucky 3. He's going a lot better than it looks, Pesto, and he'll break through and win a good race sooner or later. I've got no doubt about it. But it was a very tricky day on track Wednesday, Saturday. I went to the races. Went to Caulfield Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, and that track's got huge problems. We're not going to go over them again because I think I've hammered them enough.
Yeah.
If I haven't, you let me know and I'll do it again. The track was extremely tactical on Wednesday. We anticipated up and in, and it was sort of back and wide.
Yeah.
Complete reverse of what we thought, which gave me even more lead in the pencil to step into Nadal, Rafa, an Omen bet, a form bet, a ratings bet, and then it turned out to be a yard bet and a map bet because the way the track was racing. So we stepped right on into it. I thought that was a very, very nice win. It and Kingswood, the 2 winners from the meeting, I think you can take forward comfortably. Kin going good, paraded outstanding, sort of cooled me down from going ballistic at Nadal again, but helped me back Nadal into Keats. So we thank Kin for that.
What a ride it was on Nadal too, by the way. Didn't panic. Took his time. Waited till the moment to get out, knowing that of the way the track was playing on that day, that he could just bide his time, Ethan Brown, and then get the gap and take it, and had the horse underneath him to do it. It was a great ride. I said to Dan, which we've got coming up shortly, I had a chat with Dan about some NBA futures. His horse, Is It Me, was a great run, I thought.
Yeah, it's ready to win.
Tuesday, Melbourne Cup day, they're aiming at a race. So he gave that one out.
Put that in your whatever you're using to do your form, or to remind you, then that's Is It Me, Cup day, Flemington. Yep.
He'll be running in one of the races there, so... Yes, he seemed pretty excited in his pretty monotone way. Good old Dan Bowman. But Nadal was an absolute peach, mate. And then good on Gav for Kingswood finishing the day right. That was a good win, and again another pretty good ride.
Assisted heavily by the brain dead tactics employed on Berkeley Square.
Yeah,
so,
no, that is true.
If you're back Kingswood, don't forget to thank that stable and the rider for helping you, which we'll get to in the Caulfield Cup. Shout out to the Magic Man. We're coming for you. Moe Friday, Glory, one of the great days, as we said. We've vlogged it. It's up on YouTube and our socials.
Yep.
Ross Brody and I, Sots Trots, wound back the clock, headed, I don't know if it's up or down, towards Gippsland, past Nana Goon, Pakenham, on the way to Moe. Torrential rain, dangerous conditions. Luckily, Ross wasn't texting a lot and trying to put quaddies on and stuff on the way down. He was disciplined and kept his eye on the road, so it made me feel comfortable.
Well, that's a start.
We made it there in one piece. We did what we had to do. Lots of owners, phenomenal vibe, good people. We had the genius kick us off in race 5. Didn't go to plan, didn't go well. Started to think, what's going to happen today? Bit more rain. We thought the genius wanted rain. We didn't think Keats wants a heap of rain. A bit more rain came. Very dark clouds. Tough conditions for horses. Celine Gaudreau said, no. I'm going to give your horse the greatest ride it's ever copped in its adult life.
Proper.
Absolute peach from Celine. And Keats absolutely pissed in the Moe Cup. One of the great rides and one of the great days on track I've ever had. I've had winners on good days, bigger days, but the vibe on track at Moe was a credit to everyone involved, and it was a joy to be a part of, and to get that big fat cup and fill it with Carlton Draft was a thing of beauty.
I really liked your post race with Celine when you said to her that it was the best ride that Keats has copped, and just the smile on her face and how thankful she was that you said it. I thought that.
Well, I meant it. I really meant it. He's had
great.
He's had some good riders on him, like some big name riders, and I can't remember her giving him a sore back, and more often than not, she gives him a really nice ride. But the ride on Friday was perfect, absolutely perfect. And she went
at the right time to just cook her rivals. Hey, she just didn't allow any of them to get anywhere near her. She just kept clicking it up and clicking it up and clicking it up.
She sort of didn't worry too much about the first half of the race. She just let it be what it'll be, and I think that suits him and us. And she's going to ride a lot of our horses moving forward. The way she's riding and listening, and we're working together, it's great.
Love it, mate.
I think she's a really good rider. We backed her early, like before Manny did, But I think she's really, really talented.
I think we need to roll back over the day as well. So how sketch was the drive going to Moe? Because you rang me at one point, and I could hardly hear a word that you were saying, listening to the rain hit the car.
I got a bit car sick.
Yeah, right. Did you bring those goggles that Darcy wears? The ones with the...
I was thinking I need them. I was thinking about letting mate Ross, I got to drive for a bit. I made it in one piece, but I wasn't 100% when I got there.
Yep.
And then sort of after your horse races, you need to have a beer with the owners. It's kind of like when you have a horse race at the races, it's kind of like playing a game of golf. It's rude not to have a beer with the people you played with or you raced with.
Yep. In
my opinion. So there's your first beer out of the way, and it just, in a sick way, settle my nerves and settle me down.
Yeah, love it. And then who do you owe a shout out to at Moe Racecourse for allowing you to fill the cup up with Carlton Draft?
Forgotten
the names of the bar staff behind have done you a solid, eh?
Pauline on the committee was very helpful. Remembered her name. Yeah,
because that was gold seeing you and Roscoe and a few others have that.
Ours is grouse, like Charlie, jug. Chaz, one of our block.
Yep.
He's in everything. Sisty, Jimbo was there, Sean, I don't know, the list goes on.
Yep.
I'm working hard at remembering people's names. They're the ones I got for you right now.
That's actually not bad from you.
Yeah, it was just a great day. Helen was there. Sweet Helen. It was just beautiful. It was, and letting us fill up that cup and it just sort of took the day from humming to messy pretty quick.
Yeah, fair. And who are you paying at racing.com to be getting your mug on the TV so often?
I don't have a clue. But I would say it's about time.
Right place at the right time? Is that what we're calling it, or what?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. But I'd rather they got me before Keats, because I was a bit more confident he was going to run well than the Genius off a big break, and he obviously missed that run at
at Moonee Valley the night with the lightning.
So Just watched Russian Camelot get beaten at Cox Plate here on .com.
Oh.
Set back for mental health. That was the day that Grand Slam went ballistic in front, and so Dragonet was somewhat suited by it.
That was when it was pissing down rain as well, wasn't it?
It was wet, yeah.
It was very wet, yeah. And then, mate, the part that we need to get to as well is how much Colonel...
Oh, hang on. We need to pause. Moment of silence. Racing.com, I believe, has now got the Animo State of Race Cox Plate rolling. If you're playing at home and you want to see one of the greatest robberies in modern day racing, Animo's protest did not get held up, despite having racing's greatest human being, who we're going to get to later on, Craig Williams, sitting upon it. The Mountain Man, as Jimbo likes him to be known. Yeah, wow. I probably need to turn this off, don't I?
Yeah, 100%, because how was that protest not upheld?
Well, we talked about him a lot tonight, but Ross was actually here with me. We watched this together in my joint. We bet together that day, and I thought we were going to win the whole way home in the straight. Then when we watched it head on, I was like, I think we're going to get this for sure, pretty much. Like, it's laid in on us, and there's no margin. It took 35 minutes.
I was with my brother and my old man. That was one of the first weekends out of lockdown where you could actually go and you could have 3 people in a house. But anyway...
Ross was one of my 3, I guess. I can't remember.
Yeah, so I was at my old man's joint, and my brother had backed Animo in multis. I think he had 3 or 4 winners on the day and took one futures bet into it.
And if you watch it, lesson, young 3-year-old colt, so broadsiding this week. Animo looked like he's off the bit.
Yeah.
It's just tempo and pressure that he hadn't seen before. So it's just a young horse, like getting woken up by the jockey. But when you remember in run, you're going, oh, we're off here.
Keep tapping away, you reckon?
Yeah, keep tapping.
Keep tapping away. And, my brother had backed it in a few multis and stuff, and we're watching the replay like 85 times. We were rewinding the TV on Foxtel. Cannot work out how this didn't get upheld. I do not
they're
understand.
In the straight right now. Start of rest is in about lane 7, lane 5, 4... and lane 3 rolled in on top of Animo the whole way.
Yeah, it was probably
finish.
It ended up like in lane negative half, didn't it? Animo almost.
I thought Animo was going to go through the fence at one point.
100%, 100%. Yeah.
Very elegant, ran 3rd there, backed it up and won that year's Melbourne Cup, I believe.
Yeah, that was a random tangent. But okay, back to Moe. We really need to understand how much Colonel that you and Roscoe had, and what were the orders, and was it the greatest Colonel of all time?
Top 3 KFCs all time. So we had a few more beers after our race. We had 1 race to go. We were alive in the quaddie, so we waited for the quaddie, hit the quaddie. That's what that cash was, I think, top of my head. Do we eat Moe? Do we try and get home? Let's just get a bit of momentum and get moving. Halfway home, there's a KFC between Moe and Melbourne. Maybe it's probably 2/3 of the way home, I'm saying. I've obviously got the KFC in between Frankston and Mornington as number 1 in Australia.
Yeah. This
KFC comfortably sits in the top 3, and I could hear an argument for it to be number 2. I ate at that beautiful establishment, that restaurant, with my daughter on the way home from a race night at Pakenham. And then what it did to me on Friday night at about 7 o'clock or whenever it was that we rolled in. So fresh, yet so crispy. I got the Zinger Box combo. Keep the chicken bits. Give me that popcorn chicken. Mountain Dew.
As always.
You need the Mountain Dew. Took that down. Now, you open up the burger. I whack on some chips. A little bit of extra salt too.
Always.
Put a potato and gravy, a bit of potato and gravy on top of the chips. Put your burger back down. That's your first focus. Get through that. Then you crack the dew. Then chippies in the potato and gravy as you enjoy the Mountain Dew.
Yep.
Then when the chips are gone, just get a small chips. This is the trick too. Don't overeat. Just enough. Remember, haven't eaten anything all day just about.
Yeah, and what are we doing? Are we doing a can of Mountain Dew or a bottle?
Can't do bottles. It's got to be a can.
Yep.
Then you got the popcorn chicken. Just a little box of popcorn chicken. Don't want to turn into a big fatty, so I just got a little small servings. Popcorn chicken into what remains of your potato and gravy. Stir that up, and just nibble at it. That's your little dessert, your little finisher, as you finish off your Mountain Dew. Always keep 2 good gulps of Mountain Dew up your sleeve to wash it down with when you're finished. Not too much. It's delicious. And I'm telling you, top 3 all-time KFC intakes I've ever had. And it's just a great time to be alive because 2 of my top 3 KFCs ever have been this year. I've been on this planet for 37 and I've been whacking the Colonel for about, I'm going to say 31 of those 37. Shout out to Simo.
What do you want tonight? You want Macca's or you want KFC or you want Subway? Up to you.
I'll tell you what, for people who
I'm not cooking.
what was all time for those who live in Essendon on Keilor Road, so I grew up in Strathmore, there's a Macca's and a KFC directly next to each other on Keilor Road, so you can drop. What Mum used to do is, because we used to be fussy, she'd drive in Macca's, get us Macca's, and we'd be eating Macca's and then line up in the KFC line and then go through the KFC drive-through. It's within like 150 metres of each other. You've probably driven the car 100 metres.
You get a bit of both?
Bit of both, 100%, yep. Couple of birds. My brother was always really fussy, so we'd always...
I've met your brother. He's not girthy.
No, he's not girthy. No, he walks and keeps himself pretty fit.
I'm tipping, like, if that's a yearling sale, I'm just writing girth on both your pages.
100%, mate. It's literally like a little S-turn. You fucking go straight out Macca's drive-through onto Keilor Road, you turn left, and then you're straight into KFC, mate, all time. I'll tell you what, you've given the punters a good steer into where that KFC is too. It's 116 kilometres from Moe to your joint near Frankston, and you've said it's around about 2/3 of the way. So are we talking, is it in Warragul? Druin? Bunyip?
You know who grew up in Druin?
No.
God. Ablett Senior.
Senior? Was it in, it didn't happen to be in Bunyip, did it?
I hope it's in Bunyip.
Narnagoon? Or is it do you get past Pakenham or not?
I think it was past Pakenham.
So it's in like Officer?
I don't have a clue.
Fuck. You're not doing the punters any favours there.
Ask Ross. He was driving.
I will do. I'll make sure I report back next week on the episode. Maybe Thursday's episode. I'll text Roscoe and find out which KFC it is for those KFC fanatics. Go for a drive. Yep. Love that, mate. And then, so Friday was an enormous one, and then you backed it up into what was a glorious $101 fill-up on Saturday in the Caulfield Cup.
Oh, we needed it, though, P-Rat. I mean, I had one proper bet, GG Smith Truth. Took 460, started $3.
Yeah.
Ran awful. I predicted a disgraceful track and a really tricky set of conditions with the rain came and how wet was it and where are the right lanes. And that was the only thing apart from Duke de Sessa that I got right on Saturday, that the track was going to be really tough. And I think the meeting as a whole is going to be really hard to trust moving forward.
Yep.
You just got to sort of start with some type of view that's not too strong and just evolve with the evidence that shows itself from the meeting. As in, like, horses that were really wide, are they improving into the next starts or blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it was cold Saturday. It was a tactical track. Bad bets early. Awful bet first race. One of only 2 bets I had, and we just thank God, Zeus, Allah, Bilbo Baggins, Ablett Senior and Junior for Harry Coffey, Kieran Maher and Duke de Sessa. But most of all, we thank Chris Waller and the Magic Man.
Yep, might have steered one around in the
jumping
first.
Really well from barrier 7 on Buckaroo. You decide to ride it as cold as possible. It got held up 3 or 4 times, and it savaged the line Charlie Sheen style. It should have won the Caulfield Cup, but they were passive to negative on it early. The lengths that you can get early on in a horse race are so much cheaper than the lengths you need to find at the end.
Yeah.
And Harry Coffey put his horse in the race, and Harry Coffey took off at the 800, maybe even the 1,000. His ride was as good as they get.
Yeah.
He deserved it. And full credit to him, and may God bless him. Because we fucking needed it, and it was just a glorious way to finish off what's been a tough but winning and rewarding Caulfield Carnival. One of the hardest tracks to bet on in Australia, I'd say.
Especially with the conditions we had as well. Like, it was howling wind on Wednesday. It absolutely pissed rain Thursday, Friday as well. Like, it's,
how nerdy do you want me to get here?
What's that?
How nerdy do you want me to get right now?
Yeah. Inform the punters of what's going on.
The Caulfield track on Guineas Day was biased to inside horses, which we expected slightly, but not that significantly.
Yep. And that's reasonably typical for a track that's racing fast, right? Like, it's always advantaged in a horse race to be up and in unless there's something wrong with the inside.
Yeah, we just got to think of that. Like, Kathy Freeman, 2000, Sydney Olympics. The chicken lane 1, she starts like literally on the finishing line. The chicken lane 8, she starts about 50 metres in front of her, but in lane 8. Because she's got to cover... If she started from the finishing line, she's got to cover more ground, doesn't she?
Correct. That's exactly right.
So they stagger the starts. In horse racing, they jump from a barrier.
Yep, which is the same.
So the inside is going to be quicker than the outside to get to the finishing line.
Cover less distance, eh?
What happens is rain and irrigation to make the track soft enough for the horses to race safely creates lanes and bias. So lane 1, in Kathy's 2,400 metre moment of glory, if it was a horse race, lane 1 might have been grass, lane 2 might have been asphalt, and lane 6 and 7 might have been quicksand, you know?
Yep.
That's horse racing, not to that extent, but those margins, and we try and pick it, and we try and adjust to it, and we try and win off it.
Yep.
Saturday, Guineas Day was bearable, and we won really well at that meeting because it was bearable and it was half predictable.
Yep.
All right. Wednesday, rail out 12, historically, is a very similar running style. Up and in, best place to be. The inside was quicksand, for whatever reason. Makes it very hard to trust the track and to bet early. Very tricky. But you can try and find a way to get money out of the meeting late while you adjust for the pattern. It's not too severe, which we did. We won Saturday, we won Wednesday, we won well. Saturday, Caulfield Cup Day, they go back to the 3 metre. So they raced on the 12 on Wednesday, they're back to the 3. So you got 9 metres of fresh ground, freshish ground. You probably got 3 metres to the inside where they raced on
7 days
the
prior.
Guineas Day a little bit.
Yep.
And you got the 12 metre that's been hammered and was no good on Wednesday.
Yep.
So somewhere in the middle there is going to be the good spot.
Mm-hmm.
But it should be even, and it wasn't.
No, not at all.
And then because it's so bad on the inside at the start of the day, the horses on the inside are actually way off the fence. So when you're mapping a race and you're going, well, I don't want to back the inside horses because the fence might be off, well, they're actually the ones that win because they're where you want it to be.
They're 2 lanes off.
I think 24 of the 30 place getters on the card were rails 7 and in, which doesn't make any sense. Things like that. Very, very tactical, hard meeting to review, difficult to bet into, and a very disappointing Caulfield Cup track.
Yeah. Bar Harry steering one around and just giving it an absolute peach. But, again, was off the rail, so...
It was still a great day on track. That I don't reckon they could have fit. They could have fit many more people.
Yeah, right.
Into Caulfield.
Good vibe.
Great vibe. Some beautiful people there. Entry participants, young people ripping and tearing. Behaviour looked a little bit better to me than it was on Guineas Day, which was surprising from the younger crowd. We had a lazy Susan run, who was out in the quicksand, unfortunately, even though she profiled like she might be in the good part of the track. Yeah, it was a good day on track. Ran into Tom's fiance's mother and father, and ran into Pratty and the Burn Dog. Burn Dog, phenomenal woman, a lot of energy, bit of sass about her. Flea and Linda, just up and about. They were there to watch Get a Fix, get the job done.
Oof.
And obviously Tom wanted us to put that on the rundown, even though he's not here tonight. And even though, let's address that. So, firstly, it was an absolute pleasure to have a few beers with Flea, Linda, Pratty, and the Burn Dog. But, why is everyone getting up me for not tipping Get a Fix? I haven't looked, as you would expect, but I can't remember seeing a thing in our WhatsApp or one of the 7 I'm in with Tom saying, get on Get a Fix today. He's going to win. He's going really well. They're really happy with him. Apparently, it's the best he's ever worked on Tuesday. Did you see anything?
Was it the best he's ever worked? Or are you just saying that?
Did you
I
see
got
anything?
no mail. Absolutely none.
Zero mail.
Yeah. And it's not like it would have been at $1.80 either.
No mail.
Yep.
Zero mail.
And didn't the Magic Man give it a peach as well?
And didn't
he just fucking get around him?
Yeah.
Yeah. There was no mail. And the best part about it is perhaps isn't here to back this up, but there's genuinely in none of the chats that I'm in with him as well, he hasn't mentioned to one single person that it's won. So my phone is cast at the moment. So I was down in Torquay with a few mates. Took the little one down there. It was a ripping day with some good friends. I got a message at when we got back to one of the places, and I finally got some reception saying, "Oh, did you back that? What a great win!" And I was like, "Back what?" I was like, "Oh, beautiful. Maybe Sugarcoat's won because they would have seen your tips from Eyes on Ponies." No. Get a fix. Didn't get one skerrick of information about it. So Paps, come on, bruh. I don't know if he backed it or not though. That's the thing. I'm not sure even he had a wager on it. So.
Well, we know he didn't back Duke de Sessa, so.
We know he didn't back Duke de Sessa. That is 100% correct.
Who would know? But he was up and about. Full credit to him. The horse improved significantly and looks right on track to be very, very competitive at the Magic Millions, which is worth an absolute ton. Brady, Burn Dog, Flea, and the beautiful Linda. It was a pleasure.
Love it, mate. Love it.
No tip. Nothing about it.
Before we get stuck into the Eyes on Ponies, mate, shall we jump to my segment, having a chat with Dan about some NBA future bets?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, here is Dan Bowman. Rightio all, we have lucky enough to be joined by DJ Bowman of DJ Bowman Racing fame. Dan, how are you, mate?
Good, thanks, Pratty. Thanks for having me.
No dramas, mate. We're currently sitting here. It's Monday, reasonably early. You're currently sweating on a Poston current. What was he? 4 shots up. Now he's 1 shot up. Is that in the background as we speak, or?
I've got the 49ers in the background, and for the golf early crow, I've the only one with JT Poston. 4-shot lead to start the last round, and it's back to 1-shot lead with 9 to go. So trying to claw Gano back. So $41 winner will be go a long way to doing that.
Yeah, we need a lot more $41 winners to claw Gano back. I think what's he in the lead by? He's in the lead by like 90 or something, which is
nearly $100.
Crazy to think. But mate, before we get on to the NBA, which is a big passion sport of yours, which you love betting on, and we're lucky enough to have you on last year to steer us into Maxi and Jokic for a couple of futures bets. You must have been reasonably happy with your runner, Is It Me?
First up run over an unsuitable trip. We're really happy with him. Ran really well, so we'll get him out to 1,400, hopefully on Melbourne Cup Day at Flemington.
Yep.
And get to see him on that nice big track and see what he can do.
Yep, primed to strike that day. Is that the one that you're targeting, or do we have to wait a little bit longer before we put some cash on?
No, he's sort of primed up to be going pretty close Cup week, you know. Every owner wants to have a winner on Cup week, so we sort of set him for that week. It was just going to be which race we ran in. It was going to be dependent on how it went the other day.
Yep, beautiful, mate. Well, that's one to keep an eye on, punters, on the Melbourne Cup Day. We've got Is It Me running around for D Bowman. Have some cash on, but mate, the reason why we got you on here, obviously NBA, you absolutely love your NBA. Let's quickly recap on the 2 winners that you gave us last year, mate. Maxi at $5 for most improved player. Now, we can't help that by the time you ended up recording, but I believe you might have you've tipped in the punters into it at $5, but did you take 10s yourself?
Yeah, I got 10s, and then I think we shot the pod maybe a week or so after I'd already had a bet, and he was trimmed up a bit, but that was a good find. And the other one was Jokic for MVP at $5. Which, you know, the US media again tried to swindle him out of it, pushing the SGA bandwagon. But, you know, everyone knows he's the best player in the league. But they're just so used to him doing it that the bar's just so high for him to expectations for him. But I think he was well deserved of it last year.
Yeah, I do agree with that one as well for sure. But no, that was very good tipping by you. I think you gave out, I think it was 5 or 6 tips in the end, with 2 of them lobbing, both at $5 plus, which is great. So I'm looking forward to, I think you've got 4 categories that you want to play in from a futures players point of view, plus a couple of team over-unders, I believe, was it? And the divisional bet. So, no, it should be good. But let's start with a little bit of player movement. There's been a number of players move over this off-season. Thing it shapes up to be reasonably competitive year, I would think. What's your take on the NBA season as a whole coming up, and do you think it'll just be dominated by the big two again, or do you think we'll see a lot more even playing field?
It's always exciting, the off-season, who gets traded where and what moves happen and if any contenders sort of make moves. So it was good to see a couple like Minnesota and New York make a couple of moves and try and make themselves a bit stronger. Dallas added Klay Thompson, Quentin Grimes, so they got a bit stronger. So, Boston are the benchmark and everyone's chasing them. So, if you just rest on your laurels, you're probably not going to close the gap on them.
Yeah, agreed. Let's talk about that New York and Minnesota move. So we've got Bridges and Towns coming to New York, and then New York have shipped Randall off to Minnesota. Who comes out on top of that trade, you reckon?
I think Minnesota do, they were just a bit top-heavy height-wise in the Dallas series, and it cost them. I think Randall's you said it's a workhorse.
Yeah.
I think he'll fit in there, Cat doesn't really play D, so Randall doesn't either, so that's fine. But I just think it gives them a bit more options to spread the floor a bit. And also they got Dante DiVincenzo as well, who's a really good perimeter defender, so that will really take a bit of the load off Anthony Edwards defensively, how much work he has to do. So, yeah, I like that. New York, they've still got a couple of injuries with their centre in Robinson, so Cat's going to be asked to play a bit of centre. Their coach, Tom Thibodeau, he really works the starters hard all year, so my worry with them would be, they'll probably win 60 games and look one of the best teams if they all stay healthy, but come playoffs time, how much they've got in the tank. Like, Jalen Brunson was really worn down come playoffs last year, and it caught up with them. So whether they can do that again, it'll remain to be seen. But I think they'll be right up there competing with Boston for the number one seed in the East. It's just whether they're a real contender to win it.
Be interesting to see if there is any change there with those blokes fatiguing towards the end of the season and running out of gas, if he does change his tactics and potentially try and save a few minutes up their sleeve each night to, even if they don't win as many games, but they still sneak in or finish mid-table-ish and are able to get in and then actually play better in the finals because they're on a little bit fresher legs. So very, very interesting one there. What do you make of Klay Thompson going to Dallas? I mean, I think I saw Brick City in a couple of preseason games. Can he turn it around if they've got a full-strength side?
Look, I think this is a great team and position for him to be in to try and turn it around. Because, with Kyrie and Luka, he's just going to be a spot-up shooter. He's not going to have to create his own shot. We've seen other players play there and look really good shooters like Tim Hardaway Jr., PJ Washington, even Dante Exum. So, look, this is a great position for him to be in to turn his career around and give himself every chance. So, time will tell. But I think it's a good acquisition for him. Adds another shooter, which they needed. So, yeah, I like a couple of the moves that Dallas made.
And then we've got PG3 going to the 76ers. Is it the new big three? Embiid, George, and Maxey?
It's a big upgrade from Tobias Harris, like offensively and defensively. But it's just health's always the issue with the Sixers, Embiid, whether he can stay healthy, and even Paul George is the same, like he's getting on in age. He's still one of the better wing defenders in the league, but just health. So, I wouldn't be jumping into them in any sort of markets until later in the season when you got a bit more of a guide on where they're at health-wise and how they're going.
Yep. And then we've got OKC bolstered their roster with Caruso and Hartenstein coming in. They're a couple of big acquisitions for a team that was on the up.
Yeah, they lost Giddey. Giddey's gone to the Bulls. And they got Caruso in return and, signed Hartenstein as a free agent, which I love. I think they've needed a big, strong centre for a long time.
Yeah.
Relying on Chet and Jay Will, who are just a bit undersized and skinny to play the centre role. So I love that acquisition.
Yeah.
Fortunately, Hartenstein's injured and going to miss the first month probably. But look, I think Caruso's a great defender, so you add him and Dort out there defensively, they're going to be really hard to score against when Hartenstein's back as well. And we've seen what they can do offensively, with SGA and J-Dub and Chet. They can put 120, 130 on anyone, any night. So they're going to be one of the contenders again for sure.
Where did you want to start with your bets then, mate? Was there any other movements that you wanted to talk about, or any other teams that are piquing your interest this year?
No, we can touch on the Bulls when we get to that little play on them later. But we may as well start with the main market, the MVP market. That's usually the one everyone's the most interested in.
Love it, mate. Where are you playing?
We've had Jokic win it last year, Embiid the year before, and then Jokic the year before that. And then Giannis has won a couple in there too. Jokic has won 3 now. This year's really interesting. I think the voters will have voter fatigue with Jokic. He'd have to have an outstanding year to win it again.
Yeah.
SGA had a really good year last year. He's going to have to replicate that or do better again to be in the mix. Luka's the favourite in the market. I think with the acquisitions they've got, they're not going to be leaning on Luka so much this year to be Luka every night. Dallas's biggest problem has been that they need him to be the best version of him every game. They don't win easy. They get games against teams that they should beat, and it's always a struggle, and he has to play 40 minutes. They've added Dinwiddie, Grimes, Clay. I think adding those guys and getting a full off-season with Washington and Gafford, I think this year we'll see they won't need Luka to be him every night, which in turn will have him with some legs left come playoff time. He played so hard to get them over the line against Minnesota. He was just out of gas when it got to Boston, and they just steamrolled him. So I think that's how we'll see Dallas this year. So I don't like Luka as the favourite. Anthony Edwards is an interesting one at 850 with Cat gone. Can he take that next step, get his points up around that 29-30 a game? I think he can. But the one I really like at a bit of value early is Giannis. They were disappointing last year. They changed coach mid-year, which is very difficult to do. They had Damian Lillard come in. They had to change a few things. They didn't really ever look comfortable playing together all year. I think now with an off-season under the belt, with Doc coaching, they'll have implemented some new offense that complements both of them. And Giannis, off a disappointing year, will be back with revenge, and I think we'll see him come out breathing fire. And I think $8.50 on Sportsbet is really good value. I could see him starting the year really hot before to the All-Star break and being half of that quote, and we'd be in a position to lay off if we wanted to.
Love it, mate. Love it. So the first play for this upcoming NBA season, Giannis to win MVP at 850. These odds are correct as of 9 a.m. Monday morning. And obviously, gamble responsibly. What could you be buying instead? Call 1-800-858-858 or visit the website. That's your one and only play for the most valuable player market, mate. Do we want to move on to most improved player? I believe we've got a couple of plays here.
I do. I might throw one more roughie in most valuable player.
Oh, this wasn't on the rundown. Here we go.
So I am a Lakers fan, as most people know, but Anthony Davis, I think, is currently 126 to 1. Last year, he played the most games he played in a long time, had a great season, and I think with the new coach, JJ Redick, coming in, we will see the best version of Anthony Davis we've seen in 4 or 5 years. I think he's got his body right now. If he can stay healthy, I think at that price, to have something on and similar, put ourselves in a position come All-Star break that we could potentially cash out or lay off. I just think he's wrong. I think he should be half of that price. The new coach coming in will see a completely different Lakers team. They won't rely so heavily on LeBron. Anthony Davis will look a completely different player. And, I just think it's a good value play at the start of the season.
Love that, mate. That was a little curveball that I didn't know about, so that's great. Anthony Davis also in the MVP market at $126. Now let's slide on over to the most improved player market, mate. Where are we starting here?
I love this market. It's usually my favourite market to bet into. But this year it's a really difficult one with obviously the big French alien in Wembanyama. So it's just going to be difficult to determine how they're going to vote him. I think he'll have an unbelievable year with Chris Paul coming in as a point guard to help him. He'll play a lot more games this year. They won't manage him. It's just whether he makes a jump so big that he's in the MVP mix, or being a second-year player, they're not prepared to give someone in their second year the MVP, and that's where this award will be right up his alley. So he's the favourite of the market at $7.50. The majority of my units would go into that. And then we'll sprinkle a little bit around on a couple of others. Jalen Johnson from Atlanta, he had a really good rookie year last year. I think he can make the jump this year. Last year, late in the season, he was regularly getting, 15 points, 8 rebounds. I think he can jump that up to in the 20s and 10 rebounds a game, which would put him in the mix. The big one that I really like is, as a smoky, is Josh Giddey. He's been traded to the Bulls, as we talked about. Really difficult position he got in Oklahoma. He's not a great shooter. And SGA was doing a lot of the ball handling. And Josh's strength is his ball handling and controlling the game and the tempo. I think the Bulls, with DeRozan going out and even Ball coming back in, they're going to play fast basketball. They won't be able to defend anybody, but they'll be putting up 120, 130 a game. And it'll be fast, entertaining. And I think we can see Giddey back to what we seen 2 years ago, where he can be, having 8 rebounds, 8 assists a game and controlling the game and the tempo. So, he's $10 or $11 in that market, so I'd be having something on him as well.
Beautiful. So you've got Wembanyama at $7.50, Jalen Johnson $10, and Giddey $10 as he plays for the most improved rookie of the year. Before we go to sixth man.
Yep, another one. This one's interesting because a lot of the guys at the top of the market, I'm not quite sure on what role they're going to play in terms of, are they going to get the minutes to get the opportunity to be the rookie of the year? Reed Shepherd's looked really good at Houston, but where does he fit in the rotation there behind Green, Brooks, and Whitmore? Stephen Castle at Spurs, similar position. He's playing behind Vassell and Johnson and Barnes now. We know Pop doesn't love to play his rookies a heavy time. So I'm going to step into Zach Edey. He's a favourite. He's $3.70 now, which is pretty short. But I just think it's going to be a matter of opportunity. Backup centre is coming off an Achilles injury last season, so he's probably going to just ease into it. Edey's a big, strong body. He'll be used in that pick and roll with Ja Morant and Desmond Bain. His biggest downfall is he won't be able to defend the perimeter centres, but they've got Jaren Jackson Jr. there to do that. So I think they'll be able to sort of hide Edey a little bit defensively.
Yeah.
And the bloke's like 7'5", like he's a giant.
7'5",
score rebound.
Wingspan 7'10" wingspan, and he's 135 kilos. Rookie.
Yeah, like he's huge. He's like a bigger, taller Steven Adams, and we've seen how good he was with Ja Morant in the pick and roll.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to get the opportunity, minutes-wise, opportunity-wise, in a good position. So I've had a good play at him. And the little roughie I like, who looks really good now after his last preseason game, was Dalton Yet from the Lakers. He's $11. I think JJ Redick loves him. He's just a flat-out shooter. He played 4 years at college, so he's not a kid. He's mature. He's come in, and we've seen in the preseason he's ready to go. Like, he can score at this level, and I think we'll see JJ really use him. I think he'll see 20 minutes a game minimum, and he's in a really good position to give that award a nudge, because he's a mature age rookie, so he's not like, your Alexander Sars and your Zach Rasacha, if I'm saying that right. They're 19, 20, coming from international. This kid's 22 years old. He's ready to go. So I really like him as another play. for the Rookie of the Year.
Love it, mate. So we've got Zach Eddy at $3.70, and I'm going to butcher his name, but Dalton at $11. And no surprise, you found a little Laker to sneak in there as well, mate, which I really, really like. And then let's go to the Sixth Man of the Year, mate. How are we looking at this market?
Yeah, this is a really good award to play in the market. Obviously, the only thing that happens with this award is players get traded, and after the All-Star break, and it really rattles it. Like I think last season, or the Russell Westbrook was odds-on favourite when he was at the Lakers, and then he got traded to the Clippers at the deadline, and went out the door because he was starting. So stuff like that can rattle it. But there's a couple here that I like to have a play at early. This is a market that I'll play in all year because, as I said, people's roles change. The market's really volatile and it changes really often. So my first play is Jaime Jaquez Jr. from Miami. I think they've decided they're going to go with Jovic as the starting power forward and bring him off the bench. So similar thing, that could change mid-season. He could start too many games. But I think at $10, he's shown he is a very good NBA level talent. Great rookie season. And I think he can make the next step this season to give that award a nudge. Yeah. Another one was the guy who was in the mix for Rookie of the Year 2 years ago in his first year. He got injured late in the year last year. Pacers, similar deal. Like they had some trades late in the year. Now they've had a full off-season to work together. I think they'll look good. But Benedict Mathurin off the bench, he's an unbelievable scorer. He's just got to get better defensively, and that'll get him more minutes on the floor. But I don't see him moving into the starting lineup. I think he'll stay off the bench all year. So I think he's a good play at $11.
Love it, mate. So that's Jaquez Jr. at $10 and then Mathurin at $11. And then there was a couple that you wanted to play in for some futures for some team betting. Where are we looking to start with?
So let's go with the Western Conference.
Yeah. So we've got currently OKC $4, Mavericks $6, Nuggets $6, Timberwolves $6, Suns $10, Grizzlies $15, and then long with the rest.
I'm going to have a little something to start the year on Dallas and Minnesota. That's where I'm going to play early. I think them two and Oklahoma will all win high 50, maybe 60 games. I think Denver may regress a little bit, so I'll be having a little play at them. But one I really like in the Pacific Division winner, I like Sacramento at $3.40. The Suns are the favourite in this market at $2.40. Suns have got a new coach, obviously got the big three there. Didn't really work last year, so they brought in a new coach trying to get it to work again. Whereas the Kings, they've traded out Barnes, they've brought in DeRozan, which I think is massive. You have DeRozan and Fox, who are two of the best fourth quarter players in the league, in the same team. And then you bring Malik Monk off the bench. Just think it adds a lot to them. They were an extremely good offensive team last 2 seasons, and that was basically carrying Barnes and Herter, who was so inconsistent. Whereas you know what you're going to get from DeRozan. He's going to give you 20 points every night. So I really like the Kings this year. I think they can finish as high as the 3rd seed in the West and be a real threat. I think we're going to see what we've seen from them 2 years ago. So I think they'll bounce back.
Love it, mate. Love it. So in the Western Conference, that was the Mavericks at $6, the Timberwolves at $6, and then in the Pacific Division, it was the Kings at $3.40. Love it, mate. Are they the future plays that you want to have to start the year?
I've got one more little multi I've had. Little 3-teamer.
This wasn't on the rundown, punters. This is great from D Bowman. Love hearing this. How are we playing, mate? What's the multi?
Cherry on top, this one.
Yep, so love it.
Not sure on the prices or the lines at the minute, but this is what I've taken.
Yep.
I've taken the Lakers over 42.5 wins. The Bulls over 27.5 wins.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't think they can defend anyone, but they'll surprise teams offensively and blow them off the court. And 28 games is just so low. And I've taken the Golden State Warriors under 43.5 wins. I don't like them at all. I think they're relying way too much on Steph Curry, even more so now. They're hoping Kuminga takes the jump, but he's got no outside game. He's basically a more athletic Draymond, but he's not as careful with the ball. So I think they'll miss the playoffs. So I'm rolling into them at the under 44. And that was,
right. That line, has moved to 43.5. That's now $2.01. So the multi currently with the Blue Cafe, it is over 42.5 wins Lakers $1.79, over 28.5 wins Bulls $1.89, and under 43.5 wins Golden State Warriors $2.01. $6.80 in the multi. Would there be any juice in taking the Warriors as just a single bet at that 201, or do you think now moving to 43.5 wins it might be a little bit stickier?
Look, it's to play a single bet at that price. It's a long wait for the end of the season.
Yeah, fair. Very fair call.
Wet out a $2 pop. It's not really my sort of betting, but each to their own. You do you, as Dicko says.
Love it, mate. Love it. And I reckon that'll wrap us up there. Dan, thank you so much for coming on. That is plays galore for your NBA season. Dan will be probably adding to his positions throughout the year, so we'll try and get Dan on a couple of times, or he can at least flick his picks through to me after he's watched 15 or 20 games or so. That's usually when Dan likes to step in again and have a look to see how the market's reacted. So we'll keep you updated there. But Dan, thank you so much today, mate. Good luck with your runners. I think you got 3 of them today across different sides of the state, one in SA and a couple in Victoria, mate. So good luck there. And we'll be cheering Is It Me on Melbourne Cup Day, mate. Much appreciated.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Well, thanks to Dan for that. There's more bets than you can poke a stick at. Dicko, you know how much I love a bet, but Christ, Dan is all over the NBA. We'll make sure throughout the season, as I said, 15 to 20 games in is when he likes to start playing and get into those markets. So we'll keep you informed.
1-800-858-858 or visit the website. Gamble responsibly. Now, while I've got you, just thinking about the burn dog.
Where did the ice cream come from?
Oh, I just got an ice cream while I was listening to you and Dan waffle about the NBA. He's a very sick human being. Also found the winner of the golf. This morning. So
$41 too.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, go on. That looks like a Cadbury Dairy Milk one as well.
Bit of caramel in it.
Oh,
I'm tipping them. They're good. Poor old burn dog. She's in a horse with a trainer that I wouldn't have one with, and it's by a stallion that I've legitimately never ever heard of. So, Flea and I are going to try and sort her out, help her out, and get her in touch with Jono at themailbag.com. And also, it sounds like we've got our game of golf, or one of our games of golf, organised when T. Papley ventures south.
Like this.
It's Brady, Flea, and me, and you, and Paps. And Paps is going to be ripe for the picking. His bung ankle, his golf handicap. That Brady especially was pretty convinced. There was a few balls dropping out of pockets, sort of stuff to get the handicap out low. So I think he's going to have a really hard time playing to that number, Tom, and I look forward to being there that day to bet on it.
Yeah, fair.
So again, Burn Dog, I will help you. I will fix it. Jono, Jono at themailbag.com.au, and we'll get you sorted.
Eyes on ponies. Shall we hook in, and shall we start with Caulfield and the Caulfield Cup? It was the one we actually had almost 100 votes on our poll, which is great that the community is getting around us and our family. So we deep dive in the Caulfield Cup, mate. We've already spoken a little bit about it, about Harry's great ride on Duke and Joao, or however you say his name's ride on Buckaroo. How did you view the race overall? Did they go hard up front, or was it an evenly run race, or
they went hard early as they fought for position? There was a mid-race slowdown, which is what sort of hurt your horses like Land Legend and Zardozi, and it didn't help Buckaroo. But it's not something that's like, it wasn't like, oh my God, can you believe there was a mid-race slowdown? Pretty common stuff. I don't think it was a vintage edition of the Caulfield Cup at all. 3 of the first 4 horses home. This is what I was talking about earlier, how tough this track was. So 3 of the first 4 horses, rails in run. Crazy, eh?
Crazy to think that. With
Race 5, the inside horse was in lane 4. 4 races later, 3 of the first 4, rails in run. So tough. So that's how I start my review of a race. So then you look at Young Verta, Circle of Fire, Coco Sun, Valiant King, Warp Speed, not suited. 3 wide, mostly cover. Young Verta, unfortunately for Jai, cast 3 wide the trip. That's pretty tough to do over 2,400 metres. His ride wasn't inept. He, at a key stage early, looked like he might get in as Fancy Man and Ronnie Stewart. Annabelle Nation booked Ronnie Stewart. Amazing. It looked like it was going to go to the fence, and then it held out and got kicked up under, and that forced Jai to be 3 wide the trip. So, tough stuff there. Deny Knowledge eventually got to the front, and once he did, they filled up the lungs, as Matty Hill would say.
Sorry,
that's how the race was run.
Duke de Sessa.
You want to start at Duke?
Yep, I think we should, mate. Why not? Let's go from the top to the bottom.
Perfect barrier. Perfect ride, jumped well, held his line, didn't panic, got into the right spot, and at the right time increased the pressure. You might look at it and go like, geez, he really put the foot down. He didn't. From the 1200, he went a 12.96 for that furlong. Furlong's 200 metres. Then he went a 12.88. This is where he put the foot down the one time and one time only, and he held it for 400 metres, and it won the race. From the 800 metres, he went 11.92. So he went from a 12.88 to an 11.92. 12.04. Then, this is a big myth that if you get into the sport, I'm telling you this is what happens. The eye lies. From the 600, he has slowed down.
Yep.
And they all have. 6 of the 4, 12.04, 12.56, and then a 13 flat. Last 200 metres. Buckaroo's last 200 metres, you think he's flying. He's going 12.48. From the 4 to the 2, he went 12 flat. So, horses' last 200 metres is often the slowest of their sort of last 1,000, and that's the case here. Duke de Sessa was given an absolute peach by Harry Coffey, and he should be extremely, extremely proud of himself. The horse accelerated and built momentum from about the 1,200.
Love it, mate. Buckaroo was second, 1.2 lengths.
Just a dumb ride. You watch a replay yourselves, he begins really well and could have settled midfield or forward of, and if he did, he would have won. But they rode for position, not for pace, and they paid the price. This horse is flying. It's a new horse gelded. It loves Caulfield, the cornering, the cambers. That's 2 times it's been there, and it's run huge both times. It was enormous, but not as good as VS Destino in the Turnbull. If they take it to a Melbourne Cup, it's hard to knock. It's certainly the run out of this race that you need to respect the most in a Melbourne Cup, but it's very, very short in my opinion.
Land Legend for Waller and Purton third, 6.2 lengths.
This horse was a prick before the race, was a prick going to the barriers. He's a 5-year-old gelding by Galileo, so I don't know how much more improvement you can hope to get out of him mentally. You know, that great post-game footy spray, yeah?
Mentally, I don't think we're quite there.
Yeah.
Well, this is Land Legend. Mentally, he's not quite there.
Yep.
Physically, he is there. Zach Purton rode him, so you're getting A-grade service, and he couldn't control him.
Yeah.
He resented being slowed down when the mid-race slow happened. He then, which is really smart, used to let the horse roll a bit, and he looked like the winner at the 600. He peaked on his run, but he spent energy in the mounting yard. He spent energy going to the barriers, and he wasted energy in run. When they over-race and they rush their head around and they muck around, it's kind of, in my mind, like the foot is still on the accelerator the same amount, chewing up the same amount of gas, but they've also got a foot on the brake. When that happens at this level of racing, it can be very costly, and I think it was for this horse. He was a very, very good run, but you're banking on him getting it right mentally. And he's a 5-year-old. I don't know. He's had the one prep now with Uncle Chris Waller.
Yep.
Potentially, maybe in time, with a few more preparations under Chris, he does improve his brain and in his manners, and that'll take him a long way to go into that elite level.
Fourth was Zardozi for Godolphin.
Badly not suited. Looked like I was going to get the perfect run. Was real aggressive early to get to the fence from a wide barrier. It was a good ride early. But as Land Legend overreacted to the mid-race slowdown, this horse did as well, but not as bad. I thought Zardozi was a good run. But it needs to find 4 or 5 lengths to be A-grade, proper, which is only 3 or 4 of those races in Australia a year, and it's going to race in heaps of them. She's a 4-year-old mare by Kingman. Kingman's, I think, the best sire in the world. So she's a 4-year-old, Northern Hemisphere most likely. I don't know if she is or she isn't, actually. She probably isn't. 4-year-old, though, either way, running over 2,400 metres, she has got time to improve and grow. So she's got a year to get to Land Legend's age, and Land Legend is still only 5. So I think she's progressive and one of the horses to keep an eye on from a long-term point of view out of this race is Zardozi.
Love it, mate. Then fifth was Deny Knowledge, 9.5 lengths.
Brave. I don't think it was a big ask. This horse was on the quick backup from a Might and Power or something last week. I think he just went a little bit too slow on her.
Yep.
Sort of around the sort of 14, 12 and 1,000. And got his pants pulled down a little bit by Harry Coffey, but I don't know if it was going good enough at the same time. Craig Newt was stood down from rides after this, so I think he's pretty crook, or it was hard for him to get down to this weight. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
I think she had a birthday the previous week at Caulfield on Guinea's Day, winning the Might and Power. Pratty might have been a different race.
That's correct.
Yeah. Job done. Will we ever see her again? I don't know.
Interesting. Annabelle and Rob Archibald's Fancy Man, 9.7 lengths, 6th.
Ronnie Stewart rode, which is staggering to me. So it was Ronnie's first ride. I can remember him riding in Melbourne for a very, very, very long time. He's got a 9.6% strike rate for his career. He's got a 7.3% strike rate for the last 12 months. He's maybe a setback for a horse. He's certainly not a plus as a jockey switch. I thought the ride was okay. I thought the horse hit the line well, and it's a horse that you can't sack. Yep. I thought it was decent.
Yep, fair enough. 7th, Elias.
Plain, disappointing. Lacked in 10 early. Maybe that's tactical. They're aiming at the Melbourne Cup. I don't know, but off that run, it was disappointing. And if you want to follow it, if they do push on to Melbourne Cup, you're going to get a big price now.
8th, Warmonger.
Plain.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if it came back and was competitive.
Yeah, it's already gone for a spell as well, I believe. 9th, Valiant King.
Not the worst, but pretty plain and limited.
What do we do with Circle of Fire? 10th.
Sack it.
Dunzo.
Wait for next prep, maybe. Very disappointing. Hoiter. It exploded 3 back at Caulfield. Since then, sort of run the same sort of number and been pretty plain both times. Young Verta, the next horse, we spoke about it. It was 3 wide the trip. It's forgivable.
Yeah.
Certainly don't sack a horse off being 3 wide a trip in a Caulfield Cup. Warp Speed, the Jap. Not suited on the soft or the heavy. Let's call it a soft. That's what I think it was.
Yeah.
Not suited versus the race shape and where it was in run. It's a horse that'll almost definitely improve out of this race, but it needs to find 14.5 lengths to do that to be competitive versus a Buckaroo. So as far as we're concerned, I think we can let it go around without us if it continues on.
Fair. 14th, Knight's Choice.
Awful.
Coco Sun, 15th.
Plain, and I don't know why they ran it. 3 wide, 3 wide. It's never going to get any closer than 3 wide with cover.
Yeah.
Really set it a task. It's a young horse with upside, and now it's been beaten 20 lengths in the Caulfield Cup.
Yep. Martrain Sati, whoever you say this horse.
Market respected this.
Yep.
It was pathetic though late, and there was nothing relevant in the stewards report, so I don't know what you do with that.
Calipore 17th, 27.7 lengths. And then Berkshire Breeze.
Awful. Carleen Ethel gave this a decent ride from an awful barrier. So, full credit to you, Carleen. Unfortunately, Berkshire Breeze. We need to see some evidence before we ever think about it again.
Fair enough. If there was one... If any of these horses were going to the Melbourne Cup and you were just going to take one, which one would you take?
Buckaroo.
Love it, mate. What else did you see on the Caulfield card? Did anything else catch your eye?
I thought So Glamorous was a really good run, Pratty. I think it's building into a really nice preparation and can potentially be backed pretty soon. Rio, ready to win next start. Wherever they send it, we need to back it. Gamble responsibly. 1-800-858. 858. There we go. Or visit the website. Lovely Cut could be 1,000 guinea horse. I think P-Rat or Jimbo, the weatherman, was saying.
Yep, would have been the weatherman, not me. Would have been the weatherman.
For Lovely Cut. Super Nima onto a wet track only. Very, very nice run. Niance and Pondalawi out of race 5. They've gotten enormous, and I think they're progressive sort of horses we can watch and hopefully back moving forward. I thought the biggest runs across the weekend on my ratings, comfortably Buckaroo. I've got it at 14.5, which is right near the tippy top. Duke Assessor at 14.2. Bella Nipotina up in Sydney at 13.7. Let's not forget about her. We're going to go back there. Estrella, huge, 13.1. Sheowulf, 13. And Overpassed a 12.5. Let's go to the Everest.
Yeah, before we do, I got one question for you without a little bit of notice, mate. If you could go to race 2, what do we do with Stolly Bolly and Gallant Sun going forward? Was there excuses?
Peter Moody's horses are hard to trust at the moment. Now, two things happen there. Peter Moody has just forgotten how to train horses and is gone forever. Or
very unlikely.
Yeah, I'd say that too. Peter Moody's having a rough run of it, and he will get real hot. And we've got to decide when that is and try and catch that wave.
Yeah. I think that's
one
of the
horses are going like shit, but they will get hot, and we want to ride that wave. Gallant Sun, not suited. The thing in the first Sugarcoat, disgusting drift. And then amazingly half missed the start. Then it had a throat issue. Setback after setback. I Wish I Win was playing in the Everest. They're struggling, but what goes up must come down, and what goes down will come up. And Peter's down, and he's probably about to come up.
It's one of the biggest things you've taught me, I reckon, recently, is that with people and jockeys and stables and things like that, they don't lose their ability on how to train. Some do, but people that have done it for that long, they don't lose their ability on how to ride or how to train. It's just there's something going on, and there's a chance that, and you might be able to see it before others do and get to capitalise on it, but it will turn at some point.
Yeah, it can be like a bug go through the stable, or personal problems, and they miss things. Like, look, whatever it is, they get back to what they average like a 15% strike rate, and they might be down at 10. They've averaged 16 for 20 years, so they're probably going to come back up.
Yeah, they might go to 20 or something, and then Yep. That Neonce as well, it'll be interesting to see. I reckon surely straight race, you reckon? You reckon it's a chance?
I don't know. Probably 400 metre horse.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
Go to a 1200 metre race at Flemington next start, I would, if I owned it.
Yeah, fair. Mate, let's get to the big one in Sydney. It was race 6, the Sydney Stakes, wasn't it?
Well, I've forgotten its name.
Overpass?
No, the other one.
The one
Far Too Easy.
The one that won the Kosciuszko.
Far Too Easy would have run 3rd in the Everest, I reckon.
Whew. I heard today.
It is. I've listened to a lot of stuff today just because it interests me how far gone we are in our North Korean, Russian, Chinese style narrative media driven crap that we consume. There's not much about the Caulfield track. It was alright. And the Everest, how good was it? Did you see how many people were there? We still don't know if there was any turnover, because they don't tell you. And the race was the worst edition of the race thus far. They don't tell you that. The Kosciuszko race was run in 1 minute, 8 seconds and 84. That was the winner. The Sydney Stakes, 1 minute, 8 seconds, 72. So just faster, overpassed. And then the Everest, Bella Nipotina, 1 minute, 8 seconds, and 72. Identical times. Now, I think Bella Nipotina 3 wide, no cover the trip is a better performance. Hence, I've given her a slightly better rating on my stuff.
Yep.
But, boy, oh boy, wowee. It's just like the greatest bubble bath of all time, this industry. Just the pats on the back. All we've done is create weaker races. Last week was a disgrace. The King Charles race, which is just not needed, was below par race. There was like 3 or 4 relevant horses in it, and that's the same thing that's now going to happen in the Cox Plate. It's to racing's detriment. They continue to verse each other and rip each other to shreds whilst the cricket's about to start. And I know what most of my mates are going to be watching.
Yep. They're not, the best horses not racing against themselves all the time, creating that spectacle. Yeah. And
how is Waller not sending Fangirl to the Cox Plate? Because she probably doesn't get 2,000 unless she gets 1,600 metres, and PVL's put on a $5 million race for her.
Yeah. Group 1 status too.
J.O. Wolf is owned by people we know, racing purists. He'd be deadly in a Cox Plate, but they ran him in a King Charles.
Yep. Why wouldn't you? It's $5 million too.
Oh, no. I would have, like I said last week, I think I said on this show, I would have run Brightside in the King Charles. What I would do with what's on offer is very different to this whole... I'm having a holistic view on the industry right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, there was $22 million for 2 1,200-metre races, one after the other. $2 million and $20 million on the weekend.
The
half that's hype anyway. Half that money's put up by the slot holders, and they're getting half the prize money.
Kosciuszko $2 million, Sydney Stakes $2 million, Everest $20 million, King Charles $5 million.
Estrella would have been very, very competitive in any of those races on Saturday. Ray McNero would have gone really close.
It's a shame.
He had around that.
It's a shame that the best aren't racing the best all the time. It's a shame. But let's touch on the Everest, mate. What a ride from Willow to be positive out of a wide barrier, which I believe some people say that basically barriers kill you. But
well, I think who you're talking about to sack Craig Williams for being positive on Giga Kick at Moonee Valley when Imperatrice kicked its head in.
Wasn't the one that I was thinking of, but it's probably a pretty good example.
He was positive and aggressive that day, and they hated it. And then he was positive and aggressive on Bella Nipotina, and he beat him.
What a great ride.
I don't know if God exists, but if he does, he was pissing himself on Saturday afternoon when Willow knocked them off, because it was home and hosed under the urgings of the king, Mark Zara. I actually backed Giga Kick, and I was not that flat about getting beat. I thought this was on a weekend of outstanding narrative. There were 3 highlights for me. Harry Coffey, a champion, literally now, and a very good person from all reports. Jason Collette caring for Think About It.
That was elite to see.
Was everything that's great about racing.
Can you believe that horse got back up?
Oh, champion.
That's unbelievable.
To finish it off, we had racing's greatest human being, getting justice, knocking off the connections that belittled him and bullied him and hammered him in the media to protect their horse, which has never returned to the level it once was, and didn't again on Saturday. It was an average Everest. And Craig handled that moment of triumph with such dignity, a lot more than I've got right now. And he's just a pleasure, Craig Williams. He rode outstanding on Saturday. And what you got to remember, Pratty, if he sat 3 wide on Bella Nipotina and got beat, what's everyone saying?
Oh, they would be calling for his heads, and the Bella should have won.
And he did it anyway, and he got it right.
How good is the story that I heard as well? Maybe he got paid for it, maybe he did, I'm not too sure, but going up and trialling far too easy off his own bat, went up there for the trainer. I want to say his last name, but I'm going to butcher it, so my apologies. But is it McCollum?
I don't have a clue.
He's one of his stables were one of the ones that got flooded out near Lismore, but Willow went up off his own bat and helped trial the horse, knowing that he was going to ride it on Kosciuszko Day, and then look what happened.
Probably helped him out, but it's a $2 million race.
But how good though? He didn't have to.
Yeah,
he was still going to ride the horse anyway.
Look, I just thought it was a phenomenal moment of narrative and karma for Craig. I thought he deserved it. He was persecuted for doing nothing wrong on that horse at Moonee Valley that day. And it went on and it went on. And I just loved it. Now, after that, I am actually extremely happy to see Gear Kick return and run well.
Yeah.
Because it's good for racing.
I believe they had a setback with that horse.
How far away he is, though, from his best work is the question. Like, I think if anyone else rides Gear Kick, he gets beaten by 4 or 5 lengths, including Willow. So I'm putting on back on my racing hat now.
Yep.
That was a narrative hat. Mark held a position whilst keeping him on the bridle. It was a great ride. A really good ride, Gear Kick. Blessed in run. Randwick was really disappointing from a bias point of view. It was heavily on pace. There was a really sharp horse that won a race earlier in the day from worse than midfield.
Yeah, is it Lekvade?
Lekvade that Rob Scurry's tipping if it comes to Melbourne.
That was a savage drifter too, so it wasn't it.
It was map related because they couldn't win from worse than midfield on that track. It was embarrassing. On the biggest day of the year, they produced another poor track.
Yep.
So it's not just about punters, it's about participants, trainers, owners, jockeys. Yeah, it's a pretty disappointing track. And then the only other horse that made good ground, but it was in a brutally run race, was Rixie's horse in Jail Wolf. So I'm calling it Jail Wolf.
Love it.
And I sort of say it fast. Jail Wolf. And it was a enormous win, and that's one of the most exciting horses in Australia.
Yep.
And thank God for our sake, unfortunately for Rixie's and the Rix's sake, he's nutless. He has been gelded. So we get to deal with him next year. You know, they might go to Might and Power and the Cox Plate and all the good races.
Be interesting to see what they do in the autumn as well. It's I heard Joe Pride say, and he's not talking it up for any breeding purposes. He said it's one of the best he's ever trained. So that's pretty exciting. And Rixie went, which is good to see as well. Nice to see him all dressed up with the trophy. How good. Got to enjoy those things. You love seeing people have a crack.
I thought, like, if I was marking him out of the yard, impressed with the old man, parading outstanding. Tubes just right. He cleans up real well. Yeah, for 3 Shire boys, they've done real good. They come good, they look good, and they bet good.
Yep, how good. What did you make of the Major Beal Hieronymus keeping Pride of Jenny wide?
Just racing. I'd keep a close eye on big races moving forward. Just remember it in the back of your mind for, like, say, 12 months.
Yep.
I'd say if the opportunity presented for the roles to be reversed, it might be taken.
Yep, fair. Was there anything else that caught your eye in Sydney, or you just watched the major ones while you were at Caulfield?
I thought the crowd was outstanding.
Yeah.
It sounded like... I didn't speak to Harrow properly today, but it sounded like he had a great time and didn't have enough, and he went to Coogee afterwards, so he's very dangerous. I was happy to hear his voice today, that he's live.
That bloke could have fun in a telephone box, though. Let's be real.
Yeah. Sweet Caroline's going well. I think Sweet Caroline's custard and embarrassing, but it's got 36 lengths on the shit that they produced at Caulfield. It was weird what they did at Caulfield. It was like a skit, like a comedy skit, but I think it was real life.
Yeah, right.
It was that bad.
We'll get ready for House of Pain on Friday night, brother. Jump around. Here we go. Valley, buckle up, boys. Buckle up. Yes.
That's why I've got to have a few beers before we get there.
So good. Looking forward to Friday night, actually. Should be good.
That's probably all I got, P-Rat.
Yep.
A glorious week for the Mailbag Bloodstock. Really, really rewarding. We had a double on Sunday.
Yeah.
Mr. Tadashi's a moron, but he's just stays. That's 2 in a row for him. He won his maiden. Now he's won his next race. We'll probably step him up in trip and in grade next start.
Beautiful.
Miss
London
Uchitel
Point
was
home
really,
again.
really good. Winning, great ride. And then London Point was good late, good enough. Probably next start or the start after she'll be winning, I think.
Yeah.
The only setbacks in Melbourne were Pesto and Lazy Susan, but both had genuine excuses.
Yeah.
And then the Genius, I just think off that setback, missing that run, another decent enough excuse. But outside of that, winners galore. Marshall Music definitely goes to the races Friday night, and potentially we might just try and crown the king of the Gippsland on Sunday at Sale.
We'll be on track Friday night, Dicko, Moonee Valley Gold Cup night, Marshall Music. It should be good fun. Might try and do another vlog as well. Hopefully people enjoy the one from Moe. I can't wait to follow you around after you've had a couple of jars.
I'd like to hear from the bloke that kissed me when I left Moe.
Yeah, actually, that is a very, very good bit. And you kissed him. I don't know if you want to go rewatch that footage, but you gave him a big planted one right on his temple. It was great.
Well, life was very, very good at that point.
Can you explain to the punter at home what you were doing in that video? Yeah, there was a song that you were getting around, wasn't it?
I was like hearing a song as I was pissed and leaving, and I was actually making that video for my kids. And then obviously when I kissed a man, or got kissed by a man, I thought that's probably not appropriate.
And he said, fucking keeps you beauty. It's probably one to save the dust maybe when he's 10 years older. Love it, mate. Does that...
Mate, they loved the trophies.
Yeah, that's awesome. You did send a pretty cool video through to me and Paps of them getting around it on Saturday morning, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool.
I rated what you said to Josh from Country Racing Victoria as well about what you've done with the bloodstock business and being able to bring your family into it. I think that's a really, really cool thing to do, mate. So I haven't spoken to you about that, but that's pretty cool, bringing them along for the ride, something they can go and cheer your horses. Because I know Glenn loves going,
Might get them all to sail on Sunday if we run.
Love that, mate. Love that. Does that about do us for episode 55?
Yeah, it does.
Big episode.
Big episode. Few shout outs to finish. We encourage Tom, who we know listens to every bit of the content we create, to expand your horizons over there, mate. Try the food. Drink the drinks. Get out there. Enjoy it. You're only going to be in Japan once or twice the rest of your life. To Flea, you're a great man, and I can't wait to play golf with you. To everyone involved in whatever else, I'm just talking custard, and I hope you guys have a phenomenal, an outstanding, a great weekend. I hope if you've got 3 young kids, you get a great sleep in on Tuesday and Wednesday night, just so you got that foundation of energy and strength that you need to attack the back end of the week and that weekend. The racing does not stop. Geelong Cup Wednesday, Moonee Valley Friday, Cox Plate Moonee Valley Saturday.
I know you were referring to yourself in that little segment, but I can guarantee you, if I know there's one human being that'll get up for the big occasion, it'll be you on Friday night at Moonee Valley Gold Cup night. You don't need to stress about getting any sleep, mate. Once you've had a jar, you'll be sweet.
We'll be winning too. Martial music.
Oh, pray.
Calm down, mate. Gavin. Don't you dare declare it. Have a great week. Gamble responsibly. 1-800-858-858 or visit the website.